these three components, this list view, gallery, grid view, these three components are replaced with recycler view, card view, floating action button, and we are having an option called skittle menu is one thing, snack bar, comma toolbar, snack bar, comma toolbar. Like there are some advanced UI components are there. There are some advanced UI components. Now in the 1 or 2 days, I mean next 1 or 2 days, we'll discuss these advanced UI components. We'll discuss in Android. So these UI components is called as material design. Material design UI component. We call as these components are called as material design concepts, and this is introduced from Android 5.0 onwards. This is introduced from Android 5.0. Toolbar, snack bar, and ripple view. Like there are some, they introduced from few UI components, they introduced some advanced UI components which will give the best UI experience than the core components. Okay, so now in the next 1 or 2 classes we'll discuss what material design concepts we'll discuss. These are the UI components we are going to discuss in the material design. But if you want to understand this recycler view, if you want to understand, you need to have a knowledge of a list view with the custom adapter at least, because this recycler view is a replacement of what? A replacement of these three components. So if you have a requirement of vertically, if you want to present some data, now don't use the list view component. Use what? A recycler view. Even if you want to present in a horizontal format also, we create a UI component called gallery, grid view. So let's take here in the Android device, we'll take few applications where exactly they are using the recycler view component. So first, initially today's session we'll discuss recycler view with card view. Today's session we'll discuss what? Recycler view component we'll discuss with what? With card view recycler view with card view we'll discuss. With the combination of recycler view and card view, we'll get the best UI we'll get, the good user interface we'll get by using the combination of recycler view with what? The card view. See, the name itself is describing recycler view, meaning every time you don't need to reinitialize the objects every time. That is the main disadvantage in the custom adapter. Recycler view, whatever, a single time will initialize the user interface, and we can reuse the components. We can reuse. You don't need to create. If you have 1,000 items, you don't need to create the objects for 1,000 times. You don't need to create the objects. So it will give best performance, the best user interface experience with recycler view and card view. Okay, so we'll see one application. We'll see one application where exactly this recycler view and card view is using. If you take Gmail application, if you take Gmail is there, right? The Gmail built-in application is nothing but it's a recycler view. Let's take in my phone, there is an app called Outlook. In my phone, there is an app called what? Outlook is app. So if you see here, this is nothing but it's a recycler view. It's nothing but what? It's a recycler view. It's a recycler view component with a card view. Recycler view component with the card view. Okay. And this button, this edit button is there, right? Once if you click the button, you'll get some options you'll get, right? So this button is called as a floating action button. See, once if you select this edit button, once if you select this edit button, once if you select, you will get one. This basically this edit button. This button is called as it's a floating action button. This edit button is called as what? It's a floating action button. And these components, bottom it's showing these components, right? This mail, calendar, this is called as a snack bar. This is called as what? It's a snack bar. See, this list of mail IDs it is showing, right? This showing for list of mail IDs, we use a component called recycler view. It's a recycler view component with the card view. Recycler view component with what? Card view. Okay. And this is nothing but it's a a floating action button. So in term we call as fab, floating action button. And this bottom area is called as, the bottom area is called as a snack bar. The bottom area is called as what? The snack bar. And if you see the header part, if you click these four dots, that four dots, if you select here, one window is open, right? This is called as a navigable drawer. This is called as what? It's a navigable drawer, we call navigable drawer. But first, this header part is called as, it's a toolbar. This header part is called as what? It's a toolbar component, we call. Okay. So let me list out one thing. Just give me a second. So I copied the image, I placed the image here. Let's see once again. Yes. Okay. Just one second. Can I get this information here where the image is stored? Okay, in documents. It's not possible to resize, I guess, but I'll still try to show here only. Okay, I'll repeat once again. So this header part is called as, it's a toolbar. This header part is called as what? It's a toolbar, we call. This header part is called as a toolbar component, we call. Okay, sorry guys, it's taking some time. But let's see. This header part is called as, it's a toolbar component. This area is called as what? It's a toolbar. This area is called as what? It's a toolbar. Okay. And once we select this slider, once if you select, you'll get one side menu, you'll get, right? So that is called as, it's a navigable drawer. That is called as what? It's a navigable drawer is UI component. Navigable drawer. Okay. And the header part is nothing but it's a toolbar. Next, after that, for creating this UI, they created UI component here for presenting the data. This is nothing but, it's not a list view component, it's a recycler view. You had to forget about this list view component. Okay, that's a core component. Because to understand the recycler view concept, you need to have a basic knowledge, right? So list view is a basic now. So don't use a list view, gallery, or grid view component. That three components are replaced with what? Recycler view. Okay. So directly we'll see the program will see directly. Okay, so my requirement is we already did this example, we already did in our core Android. In my phone storage, in my phone storage in my phone storage internal storage SD card 0, there is a folder called sample underscore images is a folder. Sample underscore images is a folder. This sample underscore images folder contains some list of images. This sample underscore images folder contains what? Some list of images it contains. Now my requirement is I want to get the list of images I want to get, and I want to present the data in this format I want to present. I want to get the list of images I want to get, and I want to present the data in this format I want to present. The individual item I want to present in this format I want to present. Okay, so here I want to display the image preview I want to display. First I want to display the image preview I want to display first. Then after that, first we have to display what? The image preview we have to display first. We know already how to display the image preview. For displaying the image preview, we use a UI component called image view component we use, right? Here I want to display the image preview I want to display, and next I want to display the file name I want to display. I want to display the image preview. Next I want to display what? The file name I want to display, and file size, file name, file size, and I want to create a delete button I want to create. And here in the top right side I want to create what? A delete button I want to create. Okay, this is a user interface I want to present. So in the individual item, I want to present this user interface I want to present in the individual item. In the individual item, I want to present this user interface I want to present. So how many items are there? I want to present that many items I want to present. In this format, I want to present the items I want to present. This is a requirement. Okay. So for this, we used what? What we use here? We use RecyclerView component we use. RecyclerView component we use along with the CardView, the combination of CardView. RecyclerView component with CardView. Okay. So now we'll see how you'll use this RecyclerView component with the CardView. If you understand the list view component with custom adapter, now it's very easy for you to understand the RecyclerView and the CardView. Okay. At that time, if you are not practiced that custom adapter concept, then you cannot understand. Now also you cannot understand. Okay. Let's start the program. So I want to create a project I want to create. Create a project. And so these are the components we are going to discuss in the material design: recycler view, card view, floating action buttons, snack bar, toolbar, ripple view, and the navigable drawer. What's the last one? Navigable drawer. These are the material design concepts in Android. Okay, if I missed anything, just let me know. Okay, let's create a project. File, new, Android application project. Specify the project name. Let's take my project name is RView underscore CView I specified. RecyclerView and CardView. Okay, RView underscore CView I specified. Next. Again select next. Take empty activity. Finish. See, once our core Android and advanced Android topics are completed completely, then 1 week we'll discuss one real-time project we'll discuss, meaning in the classroom itself we'll implement a project we'll implement. Okay, I have some project idea. Okay, so once the core Android and advanced Android is both topics are completed, then 1 week we'll work on a project we'll work. Okay, so at that time you'll understand how to create the projects, I mean real-time projects, and I'll assign some tasks also. I'll assign. Okay, So because to create a project, first of all, you have to understand all these concepts you have to complete, right? First, that's what I'm trying first. So after completion of all these projects, all these concepts, then we'll start creating a project. Okay. Okay. So now first in your activity XML file, first in your activity XML, here we had to create a UI component called RecyclerView component we had to create. So first we'll create a UI component called what? RecyclerView is a UI component. So inside this relative layout, or you can make to linear layout. No issue. I don't want a linear layout. Don't require this tools attribute. We don't require this padding property. All these properties we don't require. Let's specify the orientation for this linear layout is nothing but what? It's a I want to present the data in a vertical format. Now inside this linear layout, inside the linear layout, I want to create one. Inside the linear layout, I want to create one recycler view component I want to create. But see here, if you type the recycler view, this recycler view is not working here. If you type the recycler view, this recycler view is not working because recycler view is not part of Android. Recycler view is not part of your Android SDK. Basically, it's a third part. It's a meaning Google is providing a separate library for this. Google is providing a separate library for this RecyclerView component. So first, what we have to do is, if you want to access this RecyclerView, if you want to access, first right click on your app. Right click on your app. You can find an option called Module Settings. Right click on the app. You can find an option called what? Module Settings. Open Module Settings. In these module settings, again you can find an option called Dependencies here. Again, you can find an option called what? Dependencies. In dependencies, select this plus button and select library dependency. Select what? Library dependency. In this library dependency, here we can find a library file you can find here. These are all the Google libraries. Google is providing the libraries. Okay, so here we had to add a library. We had to add called what? Google Play Service. Here you can find a library for RecyclerView. See here, there is a library called what? RecyclerView is a library. RecyclerView hyphen version 7. Okay. So this library file we had to add to our project. If you want to add that RecyclerView, add this RecyclerView project as a library project. RecyclerView project as a library project. Just click on OK. Okay. That is the first thing. Now we added the RecyclerView library project we added to our project. Okay, so now in our activity XML, so here we had to create a UI component we had to create called RecyclerView as a UI component. See now you can find the RecyclerView. Earlier there is no any support for RecyclerView because that component is not part of your Android SDK. So now we added a library file, we added a Google library file we added to our project. Now we got the RecyclerView component we got. Let's add this RecyclerView component. RecyclerView, same properties you can apply. Width is match parent I specified, and even the height is also match parent I specified. Width is match parent and height is also what I specified match parent. And further, we required this component we required into our Java code we required. So let's configure the ID for this. I'm specifying the ID as rview1 is the ID. And you can apply the scroll bars, like you can apply a property called scroll bars is a property. Like we are using a first we'll see in a vertical format we'll see scroll bars is equals to vertical I specify, or even it's not required also. The scroll bars are also not required. By default you will get. Okay, this is the first thing. In our activity XML file we had to create a UI component we had to create called what? RecyclerView is a component. Okay, first to get this RecyclerView you have to add a library. Don't forget that. Okay, this is the first thing. We create a RecyclerView component we created in the activity XML. Next, sorry, in the activity XML. Next, in the activity class, in the XML file, we created a UI component we created called RecyclerView component we created in the XML. The activity XML, we created a UI component called what? RecyclerView is a UI component in the XML. Now, get this RecyclerView component into your Java code. Get the RecyclerView component into your Java code. Recycler view is equals to recycler view of, there is a method called find view by id is a method, specify the id of that particular component. Recycler view one is the id. This is the first thing. Create a recycler view component and get the recycler view component into what? Into your activity class. Now for this recycler view component, I want to present the data I want to present. I want to present what? The data I want to present. Okay. But before going to present the, but I want to present the data I want to present. For presenting the data, we had to create an adapter. We had to create an adapter, right? Here also we had to create an adapter. We had to create, but before creating the adapter, first of all, we had to design the XML file. We had to design in which format you wants to present the user interface. We had to create an XML file. We had to create for presenting that user interface. So select the layout folder. Select the layout folder. Right click on this layout. Create a new layout resource file. First, you had to create an XML file. You had to create in which format you want to present the UI. Let's create the XML file first. I'm specifying the XML file name as individual view is XML file name. I'm creating the XML file as what? Individual view is the XML file name. First, in which format you want to present the data, we are creating what? An XML file we are creating. Okay. This is a user interface I want to present in the individual item. So for this individual item, you have to create what? One XML file we had to create for this individual item. We had to create what? One XML file we had to create. Okay. Now let's see here. We created it. A linear layout we created. The main UI group is nothing but what? A linear layout component is created. But orientation will turn from portrait to horizontal. We turn the orientation from portrait to what? Horizontal. We'll turn the orientation because we want to present the items like this. I hope you remember the weight property. The initial classes we discussed, there is a property called weight property. Now here I want to design the screen. In this format I want to design the screen. So we taken a main UI group, we taken as what? A linear layout we taken. Linear layout is the main UI group we taken. So here in the individual item, I want to present this user interface I want to present. So let's apply the weight property. Let's apply what? The weight property for this. How much weight you'll apply? Like, have remembered first weight property. The initial classes we discussed. Applying the ratio property for your screens for your UI components by using the ratio property. Okay. So my requirement is here. I want to occupy 30% of the screen. I want to occupy for this image view component, or let's make it 0.25. 0.25. 20% of the screen I want to occupy for this image view component. 50% of the screen I want to occupy for this. 50% of the screen I want to occupy for this linear layout. And again 20% means 0.5. Okay. And again 25% of the screen I want to occupy for this delete button. I want to occupy 25% of the screen I want to occupy for this a delete button. Okay. So now here first we created a main UI group we created as linear layout we created, and with the orientation horizontal. Now inside this linear layout, inside the linear layout, recycler view items, whatever the items you want to present on recycler view, for the individual item, let's create a UI component called CardView. Because with the recycler view and CardView, with these two combination, we can provide a best UI, a good user interface we can provide. So now here there is a UI component called what? CardView is a UI component. What is a UI component? CardView is a UI component. See, there is no any UI component called CardView. There is no any UI component called what? CardView. So here, if you want to get the CardView component, if you want to get, again we had to add a third part. Again we had to add a library we had to add, because the CardView is also a not part of your Android SDK. So we had to add one more library file we had to add. Let's right click on the app, select this module settings, go to what? Dependencies, select plus, and select an option called what? Library dependency. Select an option called library dependency. In this library dependency, here you can find an option called CardView. RecyclerView you added. Now we had to add what? A CardView component we had to add. We had to add a component called what? CardView component we had to add. Let's take the CardView component. CardView, okay. Now the RecyclerView component is completed. Now we added what? The CardView component we add. CardView library file we added. Okay. So now inside this linear layout, so first we'll create a UI component called what? CardView is a UI component. See, now we got a UI component called what? CardView. Let's take the CardView component, and properties are same. Width is match parent I specified, but height I'm specifying as wrap content up to the content. That's it. These two properties we have to specify. One is the match parent. Second thing is what? Wrap content up to the content. And I want to apply some padding property. I want to apply padding means nothing but some margins I want to apply. Applying a property called padding. I specified the property as 10 dB, meaning in all the left side, right side, top and bottom, you'll get 10 pixels of space you will get. Okay, next. So now inside the CardView component, the main UI group we taken as linear layout we taken. Inside that linear layout, we taken a UI group called what? CardView component. Now inside the CardView component, again I'm creating one more linear layout. One more linear layout. Width is match parent. Height I'm applying some fixed size I'm applying. Height I'm applying as fixed size, that is 100 dp I applied. Height I applied some fixed size I applied. What is the size I applied? 100 dp is the height I applied for this linear layout. And orientation is equals to in a horizontal format. I want to present the UI. I want to present the UI in a horizontal format. So we specified orientation is horizontal. Now inside the linear layout, inside this linear layout, we want to create three UI components we want to create. What are the three UI components? One is the image view component, the file name, file size, and a delete button. Okay. So now first thing is nothing but an image view component. First we'll create an image view component. We'll create width. Let's make it 0 dp because in place of width we want to apply the weight property. We want to apply height is match parent, and whatever the image you want to display, the default image, let's specify that image using src. So just for demonstration purpose, what we'll do is we'll take some dummy image we'll take and we'll place the image into the drawable folder. We'll take some dummy image you'll take and we'll place the image into which folder? Into drawable folder we'll place the image. Resource, drawable folder, we'll place the image we'll place in the drawable folder. Okay. Now here src is equals to at drawable of specify the image name. Okay. Next, after this image view component, we want to create one more linear layout we want to create because in a single row we want to present two items. Width is make it 0 dp because we want to apply the weight property we want to apply. Next, after that, height is match parent, and now I want to apply the weight property I want to apply. Weight is equals to 0.1, 0.5. Okay, and orientation is what? Orientation for this one is now inside this linear layout. Inside the linear layout, I want to create two text view components. I want to create inside the linear layout. Inside the linear layout, I want to create what? Two text view components I want to create. Now width is I'm specifying match parent, but height I want to apply the weight property I want to apply. So 0 dp, 0 dp. And now in the height, respect to height, let's apply the weight property. Weight is equals to 0.5 is the weight. 50% of the screen I want to occupy. What is the text you want to display? Text I want to display the file name. Okay. And what is the text style? Let's apply the text style. So like this, we'll apply few properties. We'll apply like text color. Displaying with the red color we are displaying. So we had to create one more text view component, and finally we require this component into Java code. Let's configure the ID for this. tv1 is the ID I configured. And here for this image also we require into a Java code. Let's configure the ID is IV1. Okay, 25% of the screen we occupied for image view, 50% of the screen we occupied for linear layout. Again in the linear layout, 50% for text v1 and 50% for text v2 in a vertical direction. Okay, the second thing is what? First thing is file name, second thing is file size. And I want to display with the green color text I want to display. And this text v2 is ID I'm specifying. This all already you know, boss. It's not any new thing. The last thing is again we are creating a button. Width is 0 dp. Height is wrap content I'm specifying. Now in place of width, let's apply the weight property. 0.25 is the weight. What is the text you want to display? Text I want to display as delete. Whenever user clicks the delete button, I want to remove the file I want to remove. Otherwise, even this delete button, even this delete also, you can take as the image you can take. Okay. I'll tell you one thing. A lot of people will do the mistake is what they don't know how to create the user interface with UI components and all. It's very simple, boss. If you want to get any button, for example, I want to replace the delete button. I want to replace. In place of this delete button, I want to create it as an image. Delete button I want to get. Basically, what we'll do, we'll go and we'll search in the Google. So I want to get the delete button I want to get. Just type in Google delete button. So you'll get some different buttons you will get, and we'll place the components. Those images will place into directly in our project will place. But basically, that is not the right approach. If you want any UI components, if you want to get images, you have a requirement of getting some images. Go and one website I'll tell you, like this, there are n number of websites are there. Flaticon.com is a website. www.flaticon.com is a website. Okay. Basically, we call as these images are called as vector images. These images are called as what? Vector images. So you have a requirement of delete button. Like you want to get the delete button you want to get. Let's type here delete. That's it. So once if you select the delete button, once if you delete if you select, so you got the list of images we got. You can take any image you can take. Basically these are called as what? Vector icons we call as. Okay. So if you want to get any images in your project, don't type in Google. Just go open this website. You can find some images you can find. So here there is some, the tab is also there. This is the first page only. If you type second, you'll get the second page. You'll get. Okay. So now here you can select any image you can select. For example, I want to take this delete button I want to take. Just click on this view button, that's it. Click on this view symbol. Click on the view symbol. See, it is asking in which format you want to get also. I want to get in a PNG format. In which color you want to get? A red color, a brown color. In which color you want to get the image? Even you can specify that color also you can specify. For example, I want to display with the blue color I want to display. And even the sizes also you can define. You want to get the low and height. You can get the sizes also you can get. I'm taking with 24 dp. 24 I'm taking. Or 32. Let's take 32 I'm taking. 32 download. That's it. We got the particular image we got. Okay. So advantage is nothing but all the components you can get with the same color you can get, and in which size you want to get, you can get that particular size you can get. Okay. So now here we require this image we require the delete button. This one also I want to make it as an image view component. So in our project, let's place the image first in the drawable folder. The delete button.png. I want to create it as an image view component. I want to create image view component. Width is 0 dp and height is I specified. Wrap content and weight is 0.25. Okay. And we don't require the text, we don't require it, but apply. src is equals to add drawable, specify the image name. What is the image name? Image. Okay. Now let's see the design first, how you'll get the UI. Okay, we got the user interface, we got in this format. Okay, but still we had to make some changes. We created a card view component. We created this white color background, we got it. It's a card view component. It's a default image we specified, file name, file size, and a delete button. So we'll make some more changes. We'll make, that is, we'll apply some text size. We'll apply because we are getting it very small, and apply a property called layout gravity is center. Here also same thing. These two properties will apply for second text view component also. Okay, and this one I want to present exactly in the middle of the screen. I want to present. There is a property called gravity is a property. We can specify the position, you can specify left side or right side, or where you want to arrange it exactly. Okay, we want exactly in the middle. Okay, this is what the UI we created. Here the image preview, the file name, file size, and a delete button. So in this format I want to present the UI. I want to present in this format. Okay, I want to present the UI in this format. I want to present the UI. So now we created the XML file we created. Now we created what? The XML file we created. In which format you want to present? We created the XML file we created. Okay. So now the next step is we created the individual user interface we created. In which format you want to present the items. Okay. Now in your activity class, we created a RecyclerView component we created. Now we want to present the data for this RecyclerView. But the problem is, first directly cannot create the adapter. First what we had to do is we had to create a class. Let's create a class. The first step to work with RecyclerView is nothing but we had to create a class. Let's create a Java class. You had to create a class called holder. I'm creating a class called my holder is a class. To create a holder class, first you had to create a holder class. I'm creating a class called my holder. This class should be subtype of RecyclerView dot x viewHolder dot viewHolder is a class. This is the first step. This is what? The first step. First you had to create a holder class. You had to create with the subtype of RecyclerView dot holder class. You had to create a subtype. See, what is error? Error is nothing but it is asking you to create a constructor. This holder, see the name itself, holder, view holder, meaning it is holding the user interface. Whatever the user interface you created in the XML, it's holding that user interface, it is holding. So let's create a constructor. It will ask you to create a constructor here in this class. It will ask you to create a constructor. So let's create a constructor in this class. Create constructor matching, super. Let's create a constructor. Just click on that error. It will ask you to create a constructor. Create a constructor in the project. See, now the constructor is what? Now the constructor is created. Now in this constructor, we are getting one of the input parameter for this. Constructor. What is the input parameter? View object we are getting as the input parameter for this constructor. Okay. So now what we have to do is, whatever the UI components you created in the XML, let's get the UI components. What we created, first we created one image view component we created in this individual XML file. Whatever the UI components you created, let's get the UI components into this holder class. Then after that we created two text view components we created, text view 1 and text view 2. Next, again we created image view component we created for delete button. We create a UI component for what? Delete button. Now here inside this constructor, inside the constructor my holder, now we had to initialize these UI components. We had to initialize these UI components we created in XML. We created these components. Now we got these components into here, the view holder class. Okay, inside this constructor, let's initialize the variables for all these components. Image view 1 is equals to image view of, see, find view by id is a method to get the component into Java code, but find view by id method will not work here because it's a method of activity class, right? And the UI component is available in this individual XML file. So now here specify item view dot find view by id, specify the id of the component r.id.image view1. Okay, next get the two text view components. Text view 1 is equals to item view dot, what is the method name, find view by id r.id dot text view 1. r.id dot text view 2. Okay, and I guess we have to assign the ID for this delete button. We'll assign the ID for this delete button also. We'll assign the ID. Will assign. Okay. Yeah. We had to assign the ID. We had to assign for this component. ID is equals to delete del. In the holder class, let's get the delete button. It's an image view component. We taken as the image view. Item view dot, what is the method name? Find view by ID r.id dot delete button. Okay. So we created the UI components in the XML file. We created the UI components, and we are getting that UI components into our holder class. We are getting the components. Okay, this is the first step for creating a recycler. First, create a XML file in which format you want to present. Second thing is nothing but a holder class. Create the holder class and get the UI components. What are the UI components you created? Get the UI components into holder class. Get the UI components. Third step is nothing but we had to create an adapter class. We had to create what? An adapter class we had to create. See, right click on this package. Let's create an adapter class, a Java class. Let's take my adapter. First step for creating an adapter is nothing but we had to create a class. We created with subtype of RecyclerView dot, meaning RecyclerView is providing an adapter it is providing called RecyclerView dot adapter. RecyclerView dot adapter, which is taking your view holder class as a input. It's a generic class which is taking your holder class as a input. Our holder class is nothing but what? My holder. We created a class for holding the UI components. What is the class name? My holder. Let's take the my holder class. RecyclerView is providing an adapter called RecyclerView.adapter, which is taking the my holder view holder as an input. We created our own view holder class. What is the class name? My holder is the class name. Okay. Now inside this class, see here, it's giving an error. It is giving error is nothing but this adapter class is also nothing but it's an abstract class. Same like our custom adapter, there are 4 methods are there in the custom adapter. One is get count, get item ID, and get view methods. Here also there are 3 abstract methods are there. The 3 abstract methods are nothing but implement the methods. There are 3 abstract methods. One is on create view holder, on bind view holder, and get item count. Repeat once again. These are the 3 major methods. What are the 3 methods? One is on create view holder is one method, on bind view holder is one method, another method is what? Get item count method. These are the 3 abstract methods in the RecyclerView adapter class. And why we are discussing this RecyclerView? Because there are few disadvantages with the custom adapter. That's why we are discussing. What is the disadvantage? Every time we are inflating, every time we are creating the objects. That problem is basically overriding the problem is overcome in the recycler. Let's see how it is overcome that problem. This on create view holder is going to be called only one time. This on create view holder is going to be called what? Only one time it's going to call this on create view holder. Every time when it is presenting the data, it's going to call on bind view holder. Every time for presenting the data, it will call what? On bind view controller, bind view holder class it's going to call. And how many items you wants to present, you have to specify that count, you have to specify in the get item count method. Okay. Okay. First, let's specify the get item count. How many items you wants to present? Let's specify that count in the get item count method. Okay. So here, string path is equals to, let's specify the path first from where you want to read the information. I want to read the information from storage. I want to read the information from what? From storage. SD card 0 from the device internal storage. I want to get the list of files I want to get from the device internal storage. What is the folder name? In my phone internal storage, there is a folder called sample images is a folder. In my phone internal storage, there is a folder called what? Sample images is a folder. I want to get the files from this path I want to get. It's a normal string object. Let's convert the string object into what? Into a file object. File f is equals to new file of path. File f is equals to what? New file of path. And it's a normal string object. First, we converted the string object, we converted into file object, we converted. And if you want to get the list of files, if you want to get the list of files, if you want to get from this path, there is a method called f.list is a method. What is the method name? F.list is a method to get the list of files, and we are storing that list of files into one string array. Will store the list of files. String array files. This is the path we specified. Next, we create a file object, and if you call f.list, if you call, we are getting the list of files we are getting, and we are storing that list of files we stored into one array we stored. We stored the list of files we stored into one array we stored. What is array name? Files is the array name. Okay. Now in the get item count method, we have to specify how many values you want to present. In the get item count method, what do you have to specify? We have to specify how many values you want to present. See, that values we stored into one array we stored, right? That values we stored into one array we stored. What is the array name? Files is the array. Now in the get item count method, specify return files.length. Specify the return type what? Get item count. I'm specifying files.length. I'm specifying. So how many files are available in the sample images folder? That many items we are presenting. Okay, next. In this onCreate view holder, I told you that this onCreate view holder is going to be called only one time. It is going to call this onCreate view holder. Whatever the user interface you wants to display in the individual item, we already created that XML file we already created. We already created the XML file we already created. Now we had to specify this XML file, we had to specify in the onCreate view holder. This will not call multiple times, only one time. This is a main advantage in the recycler view. Every time you need to inflate the user interface. Every time you need to get the UI components, you need to create the UI components. So only one time initialization. That we had to perform in the onCreate view holder method. But see the return type of this onCreate view holder method. Return type of this onCreate view holder is nothing but my holder. We created our own holder class we created called my holder. We had to create the object we had to create for this my holder class. Okay, let's create the object for my holder. Let's try to create the object for my holder. See what will happen. My holder is equals to new my holder. We are creating the object for my holder class. We are creating the object. But if you see here, this my holder, you cannot create the object for my holder class. You cannot create the object. It's giving an error. It is giving. See what is the error? Error is nothing but if you want to create the object for my holder. See my holder constructor is taking an input parameter. What is the input? What is the input it is taking? The view object it is taking as a input. Whatever the user interface you wants to present, you had to create that XML file you had to create, and you had to specify that XML file. The input parameter is nothing but what? The view object it is taking as a input, right? So in this adapter class, if you want to create the object for my holder class, if you want to create the object, we require the object for view class, we require the object. We require the object for what? View. But we created the user interface in XML file, we created the user interface. But it is asking the view object as the input. We already discussed, a lot of times we discussed how you'll how you'll convert that XML user interface into view object. How you'll convert the XML user interface into view object. We are having a class. What is a class name? Layout inflator is a class. What is the class name? Layout inflator is a class. By using that layout inflator, we can convert that individual XML file, we can convert into view object, we can convert. Okay, let's create the object for layout inflator first. Okay, let's create the object for what? Layout inflator. But if you want to get the layout inflator object, if you want to get layout inflator is equals to layout inflator dot from is a method. Layout inflator dot from is a method. And in this from method, we had to specify the activity object you had to specify, meaning where you want to present this user interface. We had to specify that activity object you had to specify here. Layout inflator dot from. Okay. But how to get the activity object here? Because we are not in the activity class, we are in an adapter class. We are in a RecyclerView adapter class. We require the activity object we required here. So if you want to get the activity object, if you want to get the activity object, if you want to get from your activity class here, from your activity class, let's specify that RecyclerView dot, there is a method called set adapter is a method. RecyclerView dot set adapter is a method. RecyclerView dot set adapter is a method. We had to specify the object of your adapter class. We had to specify RecyclerView dot set adapter. We had to specify what? The object of your RecyclerView adapter class. Let's create the object of the RecyclerView adapter class. What is our adapter class name? My adapter is a class. Let's create the object for my adapter. Okay. So in this adapter class, in this RecyclerView adapter class, we have a requirement of getting the activity object here. That's why what we'll do is, while you are setting the adapter only, I'm sending this, I mean the current activity class, the main activity object I'm sending as the input parameter to the my adapter. The main activity object I'm sending as the input parameter to what? My adapter. So in the my adapter class, we had to create a constructor we had to create in the my adapter, which is taking the activity object as an input. So we are sending this activity as an input to my adapter. So in the my adapter class, we had to create one constructor we had to create. Let's create the constructor public my adapter, which is taking the main activity object as the input. My adapter, which is taking what? The main activity object as the input. But the scope of this variable is nothing but within this block. The scope of this variable is nothing but within this block. Outside the block, we cannot access this main activity object, we cannot access outside the block. If you want to access in your end from anywhere in your program, what we have to do is, let's create a global variable. Let's create a global variable called mActivity. Let's create a global variable we created for main activity called mActivity, and let's assign this local variable to a global variable. mActivity is equals to what? Activity. Because if it is a local variable, we cannot access outside this block, we cannot access. Only within this block only we can access. That's why globally, if you to access from anywhere in the program, just I created one global variable I created, and I'm assigning this local variable, I'm assigning to a global variable, I'm assigning. That's it. Okay. So now here, so now we got the layout inflator dot from, we got the activity object we got the activity object we got, that is mActivity. So we'll get the object for layout inflator. Okay, layout inflator object we got, but we required which object we required? We required the object for view class, we required the object. We required the object for which class? A view class, we required the object. A view v is equals to, we required the object for view class, we required the object. A view v is equals to inflator dot, I mean your layout inflator class object dot, there is a method called what? Inflate is a method. Layout inflator object dot, what is the method name? Inflate is a method. See what are all the possible parameters you can pass for this inflate method. Let's click on the control button and select this inflate method. We'll get the description you'll get. So let's take the third one, which is taking three parameters as input. One is the XML file, view group, and the Boolean type. I want to see the description about this inflate method. See, inflate is a method which is taking three parameters as input. One is the XML parser. Second parameter is what? The view group object. And third parameter is nothing but a Boolean type. First thing is the XML file. Inflate a new view hierarchy from specified XML node. Okay. So parser XML. See, internally it is using some DOM parts it is using for reading the data from the XML file. Root optional view to be the parent of the generated hierarchy. See the second statement here. Second parameter is what? The view group object. This it's the optional view to be the parent of the generated hierarchy. Okay, so meaning already we are getting one of the input parameter called view group. Will specify that object will specify. Third thing is nothing but what? It's a Boolean type, attached root. Whether the inflated hierarchy should be attached to the root parameters. If false, a root is only used to create the correct subclass. So basically always we use this Boolean type is only false only will specify. If false, they specified only if false they specified. What will happen if true? Because they are not specified here, what happens if you make it true? They have not specified this one. They specified only what? If false, only they specified. Meaning you will never get a requirement of applying as a true. Always will apply as what? False only will apply. So here we have to take three parameters. We have to take this inflate method which is taking three parameters. First parameter specify the XML file. Which XML file you want to convert into view object. r.layout.individual view is XML file name. That is the first parameter. Which XML you want to convert into view object. Second parameter is a view group. Already we are getting one of the input parameter called parent. Second parameter specify the view group object. Third parameter is nothing but what? It's a Boolean type. Just now we discussed, we'll make it always false. Okay, now we got the view object we got. Now let's specify the view object in the my holder. Because my holder constructor is taking the view object as the input. That's why we created our own user interface we converted that one into view object. We are sending that view object as the input parameter to my holder. Okay. And return null. In place of null, we created our own holder class we created, right? My holder. Let's create the object of your my holder. Okay. This is a logic we had to create in the on create view holder. And it's going to be called only once. It's going to be called only once it's going to call. And only one time we created this. But in case of your custom adapter, every time we have to write this logic, we have to write for every item. Okay, that is overcome in the RecyclerView. It's going to be called only one time it's going to initialize. That's it. Okay. And if you see here, every time for presenting the data, we had to use this onBind view controller class we had to use. Okay. Let's see what is the logic we had to write in this onBind view controller. Let's see what is the logic we had to write for this onBind view controller. So before going to write that logic, we'll test once whether our application is working or not first. Meaning if you run the application now, you'll get a skeleton kind of thing you'll get. We require the permissions for read external storage. Still we had to write the logic for this component. We had to write the logic. In this method, we had to write the logic onBind view controller. What is the data you want to present in the individual item? We had to write the logic in the onBind view controller. Just we created a user interface we created in which format you wants to present. We are returning that user interface and we specified count, how many values you wants to present. Okay, everything is okay, fine. You can get the output you can get. But I told you, right? This RecyclerView component is a replacement of a list view component, gallery component, and grid view component. It will act as a list view, it will act as a grid view and gallery component. But you had to specify here in which format, meaning you want to get the UI like a list view in a vertical format, or you want to get the user interface like a gallery component in a horizontal format, or you want to get the user interface in a grid format with a combination of rows and columns. So basically you have to specify that one. In which format you want to present this recycler view, you have to specify that. You have to specify that one. You have to specify. For specifying that, before setting your adapter, before setting the adapter, the recycler view contains a method called set layout manager is a method. What is the method name? Set layout manager is a method. So input parameter for this one is nothing but what? Layout manager is the input parameter, right? Okay. So we had to create the object for recycler view dot layout manager is the class. Recycler view is recycler view dot layout manager is the class. Recycler view dot layout manager is the class is equals to new recycler view dot layout manager, new recycler view dot, or directly new recycler view dot, there is a class called linear layout manager. Create the object for linear layout manager. Recycler view dot layout manager is equals to new linear layout manager of, we had to specify the orientation, we had to specify linear layout manager of, I want to present the UI in a, for example, I want to present the UI in a list format. I want to present, just specify here, sorry, of this first parameter you have to specify where you want to present that activity object, comma, and specify the linear layout manager dot vertical. One second, boss. One is taking the context object, second parameter is a orientation, and it's taking the third parameter is reverse layout. We don't require this reverse layout. Let's make it false. That's it. So we have to pass total 3 parameters. We have to pass. One is the context, that is this. Second parameter is the orientation. If you want to get in a list view format, if you want to get, make it vertical. If you want to get in a gallery format, horizontal format, let's make it horizontal. False. Now let's specify this layout manager object to the recycler view component. Let's apply this layout manager object to the recycler view component. We'll apply. That's it. Now let's run the application and see what is the output you'll get. It's installing the app. So app is installed. Let's see here. Okay. We got the UI we got, but the problem is nothing but a single item is occupied the entire screen. We got the recycler view component we got, but see how much gap it is allocated. A reason is nothing but for the individual item, the parent UI group is there, right? One small change we had to do, that is nothing but the individual item we created, right? XML file. And this XML file individual item, the main UI group we created, right? The main UI group we created as a linear layout we created, the main UI group. But this linear layout, I specified the property as match parent. That's why a single component only occupied the entire screen. Now we had to change that one. The main UI group in place of the match parent, let's change to what? Wrap content. Earlier for the individual item, we specified a property as match parent. That's why a single component is occupied the entire screen. Once if you slide, you'll get the next item you'll get. Now we removed that property. We specified as wrap content. How much space is required? Occupy that much of space. Okay, it's a recycler view component. And now just we created a structure we created in which format you wants to present the UI. Just we specified that one, that's it. And see how best the UI is looking. You cannot get this UI, you cannot get this UI effect, you cannot get in the list view component, you cannot get this effect. It's a recycler view, and for the individual component we created what? A card view component we created for the individual item. Okay, so now here, now in place of these components we had to replace with the actual data. Now here we are placing some dummy image we are placing right here. Now in place of this default image, now in place of this default image, I want to replace this component, I want to replace with the actual data, I want to replace this component. Okay, that logic we had to write in the onBind view holder method, we had to write the logic. And whatever the user interface he wants to replace, that logic we had to write in the onBind view holder. Just up to now we created a syntax, I mean structure kind of thing we created in the XML, we are returning that one. Now the individual item, in place of this image view component we had to replace with the actual file we had to replace. And here in place of this file name we had to replace with the actual file name we had to replace, and we had to specify the actual file size we had to specify. Okay, so now let's see here. So in this onBind view holder method, see the holder class contains one of the input parameter. For this one is nothing but holder is one of the input parameter. See this holder class contains this holder class we created four image view components we created in the holder class. We created four image view components we created in the holder class we created. Now here in your adapter class, get the first holder dot iView, so that you will get the image view component you will get. For this image view component, I want to set the actual image I want to set. But first, one of the input parameter for this method is nothing but position. And already we stored the file names, we already stored into an array, we stored files. And we already have a path. First what we'll do is, let's add a new path, string new path is equals to, already we have a path object, right? Path plus files of position. So based position we are passing as the input parameter. So based on the position we are getting the values we are getting from the array. It's a new path, but it's a normal string object. Let's convert this string object into what? A file object. File f is equals to new file of. Okay. Now let's set this file object to the image view component. So image view dot holder dot image view dot. There is a method called set image URI is a method. The file is available in the storage, in phone storage. There is a method called set image URI is a method. Specify the file object here. URI dot, what is the method name? From file, specify the file. Okay. Next, for this text view component, this holder class contains a text view component, holder dot text view one dot. I want to set the text I want to set for this component. tv1 dot set text. Only the file name we require. File name is available in the files array, right? The names are available in the this files array, the names are contains. So we are passing the index we are passing to this array to get the value. Next, we are setting that file name we are setting to text view1 component. Next, holder dot text view2 dot set text. Require the file size we required. So we already have this file object. F dot length is a method. F dot the file object dot length is a method, so that you'll get the file length in bytes format you'll get. So let's add this bytes. F dot length, and I'm adding some text. I'm adding, that is bytes. I'm adding the text. Next, the holder object dot, it contains a button, that is a delete button. Let's configure the click event for this delete button. Holder dot delete dot set on click listener. Set on click listener. Specify the object of on click listener. It contains a button called delete button. For that delete button, we are configuring the click event we are configuring through Java. set on click listener. So whenever user clicks the delete button, it's going to call this delete method is meaning it's going to call the on click method is going to call. Now what is the logic you wants to perform here in the on click method? We have to remove that file, we have to remove. Let's select f dot delete. Just will make a small change because globally also we created a file object. Let's create a new variable f underscore new. Because globally also we created a file object, we created globally here. That's why. Okay. So that's it. Temporarily the local variable I created, another name I given for this. Small change. It's new path, not the path. Okay. So we created a new file object we created, meaning for individual item, we are getting the individual file path we are getting, and we are converting that path we are converting into a file object. And here also it's f underscore new. Okay. That's it. So, but one error it's showing here. Error is nothing but if you are accessing any variables inside the listeners, if you are accessing any local variables, if you are accessing inside the listener, we have to make that local variable with the final modifier. If it is a global variable, no issue. If it is a global variable, no issue. But if you are accessing any local variable, if you are accessing inside the listeners, if you are accessing any local variable, if you are accessing inside the listeners, then we have to make that local variable with final modifier. We have to make, that's a rule in Android, make that local variable with the final modifier. Now see the output. Let's see the output now. Now these UI components are going to replace with the actual data. Now these UI components are going to be replaced with what? The actual data. These components will be replaced. See here, the image UI component is replaced with the actual image. The file name is replaced with the actual file name and file size and a delete button. And once if you select the delete button, it's going to refresh the list. It's going to refresh. Okay. This is the RecyclerView component with the RecyclerView component and the RecyclerView adapter. Okay. If you want, you can apply. If you want to get the more look and feel, if you want to get, you can apply few properties for CardView like a radius. Okay, this is a RecyclerView component with what? With a custom RecyclerView component with the RecyclerView adapter. Okay, RecyclerView. This is a RecyclerView component. The individual item. This individual item for presenting, right? For presenting this individual item, we created a CardView component. We created it's a CardView component we created. Okay. Okay. Next, like I told you, right? It's a replacement of a list view, a gallery, as well as a grid view component. For example, no, I don't want to see in a vertical format. If you want, you can align some. There is a property for card view to get more look and feel, like corner radius is on property, and evolution is on property is there. For card view, there is a property called evolution is on property. Evolution is nothing but you'll get some shadow. You'll get shadow. You'll get in the down. Okay, evolution. Next, there is a property called corner radius. But if you want to get this corner radius property, if you want to get, actually it's available in a separate library. It's available. That is, so we had to declare one more declaration. We had to add here. XML NS app is equals to. We had to add one more declaration. We had to add here. That is resource hyphen auto. First time we are using this XSD declaration. There are few other properties are there. To access the other properties in the card view, we had to add this XSD declaration. We had to add XML NS colon app. This is a URL. This is XSD URL. Just the same URL up to APK. But here in place of your Android components, we use resource slash Android. But if you want to use this support library components, if you want to use, then we'll specify resource hyphen auto. Okay. So now for this card view, there is a property called, but if you want, this card view is available in this XSD file, right? Let's specify app app colon, there is a property called corner radius is one property, I guess. Corner radius is 10 dp. Let me check once whether this property is same or not. Corner radius. Height we specified margin, corner radius, content padding. Okay. The two properties are there. One is corner radius and content padding. We'll apply these two properties. Will apply, but these two are available in a separate XSD. So we added that support library XSD declaration. We added first resource hyphen auto. Now for this CardView component, additionally there are two properties are there. One is card corner radius. So now here, but it's not available in this Android. It's available in the separate library called resource hyphen auto. So we added the XSD declaration. We added for these two components. We had to add as a app because we are specifying explicitly was these two attributes are defined in this XSD file. These two attributes are defined. That's why we are using app. If you are using Android means these attributes are defined in this XSD. If you are using app means these properties are defined in this XSD file. These properties are defined. Okay. So content radius I'm specifying as 5 dp. I'm specifying valuation. Now we are applying the content padding. So we don't require this padding. But let's run the output. Let's see the output. What is the difference between after applying the corner radius and content padding? Yeah. So padding means we got some space. We got this corner radius means nothing but these edges are there, right? You'll get some radius effect. You will get the corner edges. You'll get. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I think we got a lot of space. We got. Require the content padding. We don't require. Let's take our Android padding only. Let's apply the Android padding only. Next, in place of this content padding, so corner radius will try to increase the 10 dp. Will try to increase. Okay. So anyway, there are a lot of designing attributes are there. Even you can test all these attributes. My requirement is okay. We see in the vertical format. We see vertically in which format you wants to present the data. We see in the vertical format. Now I want to see in a horizontal format. In a gallery format, I want to get. I don't want to. I want to see in a vertical format. In a gallery format, I want to get. And if you see here, the best example for this RecyclerView component with the horizontal orientation is nothing but your Play Store application. If you see the Play Store application here, see here recommended for you. It's there, right? See Kotak stock material. So what is this UI component? This UI component. So it's a horizontal scroll. Horizontal, you can scroll the items. You can scroll here. And if you see clearly, it's a CardView component. It's a CardView. It's a RecyclerView component with a CardView. A RecyclerView component with what? With a CardView. And the orientation is nothing but what? It's a horizontal orientation. It's not a vertical orientation. It's a horizontal orientation. The best example for RecyclerView and Recycler with the horizontal orientation is nothing but your Play Store. Okay. It's a RecyclerView component with horizontal orientation. Now if you want to see this in a horizontal format, just we have to make one change. We have to make, that's it. That is nothing but while you are creating the RecyclerView component, here we specified vertical, right? Let's turn the orientation from vertical to horizontal. That's it. Okay. Now we'll change the user interface. Will change. Even the XML file user interface also will change the user interface. Now earlier we specified the width is 100 dp, right? Height is also 100 dp I specified. I'm changing this one from height from 100 dp to 150 dp. Height from 100 dp to what? 150 dp. Okay. And I don't want to display the UI in this format. My requirement is I want to display the UI in this format. I want to display. This is the individual item in a grid view. Okay. Here we'll display the image view component will display. Here we'll display what? The image view component will display, and below of this will display the file name and file size. Both will display below of this. And here we'll create a delete button. Will create. Here we'll create what? A delete button will create. So we'll change this user interface will change. This is my requirement. Here I want to display the file name I want to display and file size. We already specified RecyclerView dot orientation is specified already. We specified horizontal. Let's change the user interface. That's it. Let's change the UI. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll change the user interface. I'll change. So width is in a vertical format. But width I don't want to occupy the entire screen. I want to occupy just 150 dp and 150 dp is specified. Width is 150 dp and height is 150 dp. And we specified the orientation as what? Vertical is the orientation is specified. Okay. Now inside the vertical orientation, I want to create one image view component. I want to create. Image view component. Width is directly will apply. Width will apply because we don't require any weight properties and all. 150 dp. We don't require any weight properties. You can remove the weight properties. You can remove. Okay. After this and below of this image view component, I want to create a linear layout. Orientation is vertical. No, orientation is horizontal. Will take first. Orientation is horizontal. Height not match parent. Specify 100 dp. Will specify 100 dp. So I'm changing the XML file. That's it. There is no any complex thing. Just I want to change the user interface. I'm changing to in this format. I'm changing the UI. And image view component in a linear layout. 150 150. Width is 150 for this image view component. Height is 100 dp. Now inside that I want to create. I'm creating a linear layout. I'm creating again. Width is 50 dp and height is width is 150 dp and height is just for demonstration what I'll do is I'll remove this delete button. I'll remove only we are taking only two components. We are taking only the text view component, text view 1. I'm removing all these properties. I'm removing boss. Even the delete button also I'm removing. We taken the main UI group we taken as a linear layout. We created an image view component. We create again. Width is 150 and height is what? 150 dp. And below of that I'm creating one text view component. I'm creating with 50 dp of size. I'm creating one text. Okay. Now see the design. But we specified as match parent, right? Now in place of this match parent width, specify this one also what? Okay. Just for demonstrating the gallery component, I mean in a grid format, just I removed that. Remaining two components I removed. Okay. In the holder class also, we don't have remove this text view component and image view. These two components are not available now. So let's remove these two components. In the adapter class also, we don't have these two components now. Let's remove these two components. Now we specified the orientation. We specified what? It's a horizontal format. We specified now. I mean, you will get in a grid format. You will get. And see here, we got the UI in a horizontal format. So if you scroll, you'll get the next items you'll get. It will act as a gallery. So in a horizontal orientation, you'll get. Horizontal, you can slide the items. It's a RecyclerView component with horizontal orientation. It's a Recycler with what? With a CardView component. Okay, horizontal orientation. And what is the next one? And even it will act as a grid view also. It will act as what? It's a grid view, meaning with a combination of rows and columns. If you want to display in a grid view format, if you want to display, this is for presenting the items in a horizontal format. If you want to present in a grid view format, if you want to present, there is a class called some struggle. So 1 second, boss. Just give me 1 second. I'll search the class. Service configuration. Presenting the data in a grid view format. So let's make a request in Google. I forgot the class name. I forgot. Let's start with yes. There is some class name is there. Layout grid manager. So in this format you will get grid view format. It's a class called some struggle. Can anyone search quickly? What is that layout manager class? Layout. Yeah. Not grid layout manager. Can anyone search quickly how to display tiny grid formats? STRE. Just give me 1 second. STAGGERED. Staggered layout manager. STA. Staggered grid layout manager. Layout manager is equals to new STA staggered grid layout manager up. So basically we have to specify two parameters we have to specify. One is a count we have to specify. A count is nothing but we want to display the count we want to display in how many columns you want to get. In a 2 columns I want to get the data. Second parameter is nothing but in which direction you want to show this grid view component, in a vertical or in a horizontal. In a vertical, right? So we'll specify this layout manager dot vertical. So I want to see the UI in a vertical format. I want to see the UI. That's it. Now specify this layout manager object to the RecyclerView dot layout manager. Okay. Now it will present the data in a grid format. It will present. Let's see the UI now. Earlier we were presenting in a horizontal format. See here, now we got the data in a grid format we got. So we specified the count as 2 is specified, column count. That's why it's presented data in a 2 columns. It is presented the data. Okay. So how many columns you'll specify? With that many columns, it will present the data. It will present. The project RV underscore C. Let's say grid view component. I mean recycler view with the grid view or direction. Okay. So this is about the recycler view, a recycler view component with card view. So any queries? Any queries regarding this recycler view and card view? Okay. So great. Sneha, like as you suggested, I'll assign some task. I'll assign definitely, but I require some time. I require for that because first of all, I want to complete all the concepts I want to complete. Then I want to assign the task. Okay. But you'll right. We'll do a small project. We'll do, and while you're discussing that one, then I'll assign the task. I'll assign. Okay. So, so if you have any queries, please let me know. Otherwise, send me the response no, so that we'll start. Today we'll discuss the next topics. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys. So in the today's class, we discussed these two topics we completed. This recycler view and card view. These two components we completed. In the next class, we'll discuss remaining components. We'll discuss this floating action button, snag bar, toolbar, ripple view, and the navigable drawer. These components we'll discuss in the tomorrow class. We'll discuss. Yes, tomorrow we have a class. It's Monday for us. Okay. So tomorrow class will discuss remaining two components and uploading the videos after the session. I'm uploading the videos into drive folder. Whether I don't know if you are observing or not. The same drive folder, whatever I shared in that drive folder, I'm uploading the videos I'm uploading. Okay. So thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll discuss the remaining these components we'll discuss. Thank you. Bye.